Hey everybody, it's John. I really appreciate everybody who's been supporting these videos as we're here with the Caricature Entertainment, and we're just giving some feedback to some of the artists who've so generously put themselves and their artwork up for us to all learn from. Today we're going to be looking at a piece from Angie, who is drawing at our Escondido Mall location at the North County Mall inside Cultured Vibe. They're doing retail sketches, and we're here to go over the Magnificent Seven with all of our audience. That Magic Seven is number one, can we make it cuter? Can we, number two, make it more funny through exaggeration? Three, can we try a different style? Four, can we do it with a better composition? Five, try it with different perspective. Six, we'll look at line work, or even seven, we can do it with better coloring. So when we look at our work today, keep that in mind. Uh, Angie has chosen that she would like to see it as it could be more cute. So we're going to take a look at our drawing. So this is a sketch done by Angie at our location. As always, whenever we look at someone's work, we want to look at something that they've done well, one thing that I think that they can work on to improve, and then let's show you how to do that. Here you look at Angie's drawing. What a real fun composition. You can see capturing some vibrance. Great choice with the pink background, the expression and the smiles. A very anime influenced sketch. But I believe this is a fine retail sketch that someone's going to go home and definitely put up somewhere where they'll have it as a keepsake forever. Now, let's take a closer look at something that we want to work on. Today, we're going to be talking about the drawing age of children and how to decode and make it look more cute by identifying the actual age bracket that children fall into. When we look at this sketch here, I'm going to say that this young lady is probably around maybe 5 to 7 years old. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at what proportions we're expected to see from different age groups. So I'm just going to start with a simple guideline here. And inside that guideline, we're going to start with our base form of drawing. And this is the understructure of just circles. So when we're looking at ages 0 through 2, then we'll say ages 2 through 7, and then we'll go 7 to about 11. Okay. Now I'm going to just break down. When we're talking about pinch and pull, before we're looking at if we're going to pinch, bringing something closer, or we're going to pull, stretching something farther apart. Pinch or pull. Now, when I look at ages 0 through 2, if this is my base form, when I'm drawing, and I'm going to use it here, when I'm drawing for children, what I'm actually looking at is that T. Now, a lot of people, when they maybe learned cartooning, they think about it in the cycle of that, oh, this should be in the center of the circle. But what we're going to do here is we're going to separate the circle form, which will represent the skull, from the jaw.
Hey, John.
Hey.
Just wanted to let you know it's hard to see the yellow.
Oh, yeah, I don't want you to see the yellow. This is just for guidelines. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Um, so what we're going to do here is we're going to build the second form. So the second form, if I could, I'm going to do this with an adult. if this is our base form, I'm going to divide this into thirds. I'm sorry, fourths, equal fourths, and use an upside down house. I'm not the best to represent the jawline. So even if I have my T, here being my eyes, this being my nose, this being my mouth, and my chin. Okay, so this is the adult basics of the breakdown: skull and jaw. Now, in children, what we're going to look at here is the breakdown of that same aspect, but using the concept of pinch and pull. So pinch coming closer, pull moving away. When we start with eyes, with a 0 to 2-year-old, they are at their greatest pull of their eye shape. And as they age, the eyes will pinch closer. Now, if you understand the mindset of squash and stretch or anything about volume and form, if I pull something, I have to acquire that volume from somewhere. So if I'm going to pull the eyes apart, that means I'm going to pinch, pinch the nose, and I'll also have to pinch the jawline. So let's say I put my eyes here as I'm stretching the eyes all the way to the edge for a little guy. So I want to make sure if I'm making my eye shape, I'm pulling the eyes farther away than one eye distance. So for those of you who can visually see that, the distance between these eyes is probably 2 eyes pulled apart. So 1, 2, almost 2 eyes distance between the actual eyes. Because I've pulled here, I'm going to pinch my nose from here up. So like if you see the example of my adult, the nose is being pinched up to the eye line. Because of that, I'm also going to pinch my jawline. So now I have this distance. My mouth is going to be now here. This is going to be my chin because the jaw is smaller. Now, if this is my baby basic form, 0 to 2, as they age, the eyes will pinch closer. Maybe not a full adult 1 eye distance away, but they are going to get closer. So maybe let's say 1.5 eye distance away. So as I'm pinching the eyes closer, now my nose can get pulled a little further away, which means I'm also going to be able to pull my jawline just a little bit further down. Now, moving on to from a 2 to 7-year-old to a 7 to 11, now I'm getting pretty close to that adult eye shape of about 1 eye distance apart. Because I'm pinching the eyes closer, I can choose to, let's say I keep the nose kind of the same, but I'm going to start to pull that jawline even further. So you can see here to here, that pull of the space. So I'm bringing the eyes closer as they age. I'm drifting the nose, pulling it further away from the T of the eyes. And then I'm also pulling the jawline out. Now let's take that same concept right into Angie's sketch. Okay. Again, I believe this young girl is somewhere in the age of uh, 5 to 7. So she's in that middle bracket. And if I look at her face, I can see that the eyes are about 1.5 eye distance away. If you were to measure it out, the nose is still relatively close to the eye T line. And if you notice the jaw, uh, still very wide, but not a lot of space between the nose to the jaw that goes from the eye to the top of the forehead. Or maybe her picture, her drawing showed her a little older. We're going to make her a little younger. And to do that, I'm going to actually do the under sketch so you can see this really lightly. There's my circle. We're going to do that front view just to stay coded to what we talked about. There's our T. Now, if I'm going to go about 1.5 eye distance away, so if that's my eye, there's another, and there's about a half. I'm going to keep her nose maybe not at the, I'm going to pull it just a little bit further away from the T. I'm going to drop her jaw a little further down because she is not a baby, but at the same time, she's maybe a little more. Okay. So you can see that using the two piece of the skull to the jaw, I'm not actually still having her eyes halfway into her skull. I'm going to put her ear at the edges. So if I know that the base of her nose is always going to be also the base of the ears, and then I'm going to take that skull and bring it into the jaw. I want to use our little nose. Now here's our eye shape. Okay. Now, if this base of the skull is also where the base of her teeth would be, that's where I could start my smile. But because she's got all her teeth showing, and she's even in that age where she's even starting to lose a few. So there's going to be a discrepancy in her teeth, even, and maybe black out a couple just for really playing up that this is that 6 to maybe 5 to 7 age. Okay. So I'm going to bring her jawline down, but I'm going to keep it rounded. Don't give sharp edges to little kids. That's something we save for the adults. Now, when I draw the hair, remember that hair is not connected to your skull, it sits on top and above. So if this is my jawline, just remember the hair is floating off of. So bangs, your sideburns, or I don't know the term for girls. There's her ear. And this is still kind of a hard edge. Wish I could soften that up. So now, because I've established the hair extending away from the jaw and away from the skull, I'm going to do the same thing with her hair. So if this is my skull line, I want to give it more volume to the top. And she's got a side part, so it's going to come out here behind the ear. So if this is the skull line, this is also where the part starts. It's going to come down. And in this situation, she's got her. And this one's coming and hanging over her eyebrows. So again, if this is my skull line, I'm about another, that's where you can actually play the exaggeration to her age. Do a little trick here. Kind of going along with what we learned in critique 2 about the counter pose. Even though it's a head forward, I'm gonna tilt those shoulders. Okay. And because of age, I like to give a couple loose baby hairs. At this age, I'm not sure they're really too worried about hair perfection. Hair is something, if that's of interest, put it in the comments or ask questions. Maybe that could be a future aspect of this tutorial series. All right. Darken the top part of her brow. Now, again, with age, there's some other factors you can see I'm doing here. I don't draw the individual top lashes. If they really do have one, I might give them like one or two, but never like individualize them as you would an adult. If they do have bottom lashes, go ahead and give it to her. Okay. Thicken these lines a little bit. If you saw how my drawing position to do these, you'd laugh, but there we go. Under silhouette is my thing. We'll go over maybe some shadows and inking techniques in a future session. I'm just gonna do some of my there. And there's my eye shape. If anyone's interested in maybe learning how to do dynamic eyes for caricature that are fast and easy, I probably have about 10 to 15 eyes that I could pull out. All right. So there's our girl. Now, just a little different take, but again, you can see what I'm talking about. I have still pinching the eyes away so that I'm sorry, pulling the eyes away. So the distance between a kid's eyes, about 1.5, pretty close, maybe a little less. I've also, instead of having my baby nose, I'm starting to pull it away to where it's almost at the base of my skull shape. My jawline, if this was my skull, is still fractionally small, but it's a little been pulled down just a little bit below. You can see if I were doing the tried and true, this is not half and half. It's more like 3/4 to, or maybe even 2/3 to a third in terms of the volume. Now, with adding the hair, I go from the center. Now you're really looking at that exaggeration, but it's not really exaggeration if it's based in the form of the face and the actual anatomy as people age. So this is a girl who's, like I said, between the ages of 5 to 7. If I were to draw this again, I look at the reference, I'm seeing that she still does have a very round bottom jaw, especially where her cheeks merge in to that jawline. I'd probably drop and pull that down a little bit more. Um, the hair, again, sitting on top. Let's look at the actual drawing. Understanding that concept, you can see here the actual drawing. Again, not to overstate it, but the volume, the size of the eyes and the distance between the eyes makes this feel a little older. The distance from the eyes to the nose, that pull makes her feel a little older. But if I just look down it from the nose down to her jawline, I do feel like that part of it is still very young. So it's some small tricks to the making cute, but playing with the factors of the actual age. So one more time, there's our reference. There's the retail art. And then in comparison, okay. Again, pinching and pulling the eyes still apart, but slowly bringing them closer together as she ages. Nose is starting to be pulled away from that T, rounding that jawline, making sure that the hair sits on top, pulling it away even further. Now you got yourself a more childlike sketch for someone who's in that age bracket of 5 or even 2 to 7. Hey, that's it. Today we looked at drawing age of children using pinch and pull. You can learn a little bit more with us every Wednesday and Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're looking at the Magnificent Seven. You can learn cute, funny, style, composition, perspective, line work, and color. Feel free to contact us, leave some comments, text, email. My name's John with the Caricature Entertainment. Keep it simple, personal, memorable.